The bosses for Batman Arkham Asylum are notable for being one of the game's only real downfalls. With a well of classic villains to draw from, you'd probably assume that each one of these boss fights would be spectacular and incredibly varied. However, after playing through Arkham Asylum, you'll see that half of the bosses are a mix of reused ideas and poor execution, with the occasional decent boss thrown in here and there. My criteria for what is considered a boss is simple: what does the wiki say? I will be consolidating the same encounters thrown in different areas, as well as not counting fights with characters such as Harley Quinn for being a glorified enemy gauntlet, or Victor Zsasz for going down like a total bitch. Finally, I have graded the bosses on the following aspects. Number 1, how well do the mechanics and difficulty reflect where the boss is in the game? Number 2, how well does this boss represent the story's significance? Number 3, how aesthetically pleasing are the sounds and visuals? Number 4, how much does this boss stand out from the others? And number 5, how fun is this boss to fight? So without further ado, let's rank every boss in Batman Arkham Asylum. Number 7, Titan Joker. A final boss fight should be one of the biggest highlights of the game. It's the culmination of all of the trials that have been presented to the player up until that point, ending in one final climactic showdown. So when we see the final boss fight showing up in the bottom of the ranking, it really kind of makes Arkham Asylum feel like it ends less with a bang and more with a wet fart. Titan Joker is a very fitting name for this boss, seeing how this fight is a giant fucking joke. Dodge a few of his attacks until he gets his claws stuck into the ground, hit him a few times, knock out his waves of goons, and grab him with the bat claw 3 times, and then boom, final boss defeated. The only saving grace this boss has is the visual design of Titan Joker and his arena are actually pretty good, but that doesn't even come close to saving what is undoubtedly one of the worst parts about Arkham Asylum. Number 6, Bane. Bane is one of the most well-known Batman villains. Even before The Dark Knight Rises came out, he had an incredibly prominent role in the comics and the animated series. So you can imagine people's disappointment to see that Bane's boss fight was just a reskinned version of the Titan henchman, but with somehow even less mechanics involved. Dodge his charges while hitting him with the Batarang, and then give him a beatdown. That's it. It's not a terrible fight in a vacuum, but given that it is literally just a lesser version of another boss fight that we've already seen multiple times throughout the game, and that one of Batman's more notable enemies is on the receiving end of this, and it's hard to place him any higher. Number 5, 2 Titan Henchmen. I will never understand the philosophy of video game developers that think the best way to reuse a boss is to just throw 2 of them together. At best, it is a slightly harder experience than the first encounter, and at worst, it's a chaotic mess. Thankfully, the 2 Titan Henchmen encounter is closer to the former. This, again, literally is just a Titan Henchman fight, just doubled up. Thankfully, the 2 Titans spaced their charges out enough to make sure that the player has plenty of opportunities to damage them. With the added goons in the arena, it can actually get a little chaotic, but I did think this fight was still fun purely because you were able to jump on the back of one Titan and slug it out with the other. It is probably the most forgettable fight in the game, but it's at least somewhat entertaining. Number 4, Titan Henchman. Rocksteady must have really thought they hit it out of the park with this boss, considering how many times we encounter exact copies or variants of this one enemy. Truthfully, this fight really isn't that bad. It plays exactly how you would expect the big muscle-bound enemy to play. Bait the charge, Batarang to the face, punish. It's a boss that you've seen done before better in other games. The most interesting thing about this fight is that there are some points we can actually get on the back of these Titans and kill the shit out of a bunch of goons, which is actually pretty fun. However, with how many goddamn times you have to fight this thing, you really start to grow numb to this boss by the end of the game. Number 3, Killer Croc. So if I could say one good thing about the encounter with Killer Croc, is that it is at least somewhat original for Arkham Asylum. Instead of getting a lot of offense in, Batman has to slowly make his way across the sewer, gathering spores to develop a cure for Titan. While this is going on, Killer Croc occasionally charges Batman, leading Batman to toss a Batarang to send Croc back into the waters. This all culminates with a final charge from Croc that sees Batman give him the Disney villain dispatchment. A decent idea and concept, but this fight really overstays its welcome. Since Killer Croc is easily dispatched of, it really takes all the tension out of the equation, and what is left is a relatively boring trip through Arkham's sewer system. Number 2, Poison Ivy. A very notable step up from the majority of bosses in Arkham Asylum, the encounter with Poison Ivy dares to ask the question, what if we actually designed a boss that wasn't a reskin of the Titan Henchman? Well, the answer is you actually get a pretty decent boss fight, and one that really makes the next couple seem lesser by comparison. Now, in many ways, you could probably consider Poison Ivy to be the best boss fight in Arkham Asylum. For starters, there are some actual mechanics. Avoid Ivy's vines, dodge her shots from her plants, aim a Batarang when she exposes herself, apply some explosive gel when she lands, and occasionally beat up some goons when they spawn. It's not super deep, but compared to the other Arkham Asylum bosses, this is a massive step up. Number 1, Scarecrow. My pick for the best boss in Arkham Asylum hands down has to be Scarecrow. Easily the most unique of the encounters in Arkham, on 3 separate occasions, Batman will be exposed to Scarecrow's fear toxin and be sent on a fourth wall-breaking journey that sees Batman explore more fantastical-inspired dark visuals, as well as relive traumatizing moments from his past. Upon entering into Scarecrow's area, we have a 2D platforming section that requires Batman to stealthily avoid Scarecrow's gaze while turning spotlights to damage him or suffer from an instant death. These sections also come with skeletal variants of the standard goons to fight. I'd be lying if I said that entering into Scarecrow's encounters weren't the best part of the boss fight. However, I do also appreciate how all of Batman's abilities are tested during these moments. You can tell that Rocksteady saw something more with these encounters too, given their work with stealth-based bosses, trippy mindfuck sequences, and focus on Scarecrow with their later games. But what do you think? Please be sure to share with me who your favorite bosses were from Batman Arkham Asylum down in the comment section below, and if you enjoyed today's video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing. And then, I'll catch you guys in the next video.